Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog. So let's get to it. I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all.
All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It's like you can hear it all throughout the store.
This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, we're going to do one serious top of the blogs or, more serious stories, and then we'll leave the bullshit for the next video. Okay. First story up, you guys. I got a lot of disturbing stories out of Chicago, Ashley. What's going on out there? Well, actually, the first story is not necessarily in Chicago. I was reading the story like 2 or 3 times, and I was like, why do they keep saying the Chicago woman? But this is in Indiana. But I guess Indiana must be very, very close to Chicago. I've only been to Chicago once, and I've never been to Indiana, so I don't really know. But that's what I'm guessing, that Indiana is close. Anyway, let's start with this story. Mercedes Wills and her husband Leon, they were pregnant. Mercedes was pregnant, and she went into labor. Her husband drove her to the hospital, a Franciscan Health Crown Point Hospital, and when she was wheeled in there, she was in active labor. Now, the way that I read the story is that they checked her in, but they largely ignored her, and eventually discharged her and sent her on her way, all while she was still in labor. Now, I saw a video, but I feel like the video that I saw was not this story. Like, this might have happened. This is I just, for some reason, don't think this is the story, but it could be. But anyway, the video that I saw, there was a woman who was sitting in a wheelchair. She was like in labor. She was breathing hard. She was trying to keep from screaming, because I've told you guys that once you get to that point in the labor where you screaming, I don't think that you can stop. Like, that's when the pain just have taken over and you cannot reel yourself back in. So, a lot of times people try to keep control of themselves so that they just don't go over that edge. So the woman was looking like that in the chair. There was another woman that was sitting at the computer, and she was just really just kind of looking at the lady, and then she would just kind of look back at her computer. So again, I don't know if that's the same story. I apologize if it's not, but it's similar to this story apparently, because this woman, after they turned her away, or after they discharged her and sent her on her way, she said within 2 minutes of the ride back home, she could tell that she was going in labor. Like, it was time for this baby to come out. She asked her husband Leon to help her take her pants off, and he was on the highway at the time, so he pulled over, took her pants off, and caught the baby. The baby was delivered 8 minutes after they left Franciscan Health Crown Point Hospital in Indiana. Okay. He called 911, but yeah, his wife delivered and they had no medical assistance. Do you know how pissed I would be if that happened to me? Okay, especially the fact that they ignored this woman, which this is not the first, nor the 10th, nor the 50th time that we've heard that women, black women especially, who are pregnant, when they go into labor, they face all kind of racism and discrimination, and no empathy, no sympathy, no nothing. And this story clearly is one of those. Now, I don't know what the nurse is, but something tells me that the nurse was not black. Okay. But even if she was, I don't know why people go into... First of all, let me just say that I know that many women that work in OBGYN, many nurses that work in the OBGYN unit, they probably see a lot of women who are very, very, very loud and upset, and we've seen women who maybe are having their first baby, who think that they're in labor, but they really aren't, and they feel like they've gotten to a point where the baby should be coming out, and then they check them and they haven't even dilated, all these things. I know those things happen, so I'm sure that there are many nurses who get to the point where all the screams kind of start to sound the same. Okay. Yet and still, it seems like it would be their job to at least monitor, put the person on a machine so that they can know whether or not these contractions are Braxton Hicks or if these are real contractions, but not really, we not at that point in any kind of way. Is the are they progressing, the contractions and all? Like, to me, how you turning people away if you don't know those facts? Because you can't tell me that this woman went from 0 dilation to 10 in 2 minutes. Okay? Yeah, no. And I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I've had 2 kids. So, I mean, I know how it goes, but it don't take no nurse to know that woman was in active, full-blown labor while she was sitting in that hospital and they discharged her. Okay. You know, when you first of all, when you in labor, you ain't got time to be arguing back and forth with people. Her husband wouldn't know, he's going by what the doctor says. Now, this woman is feeling what she's feeling in her body, so she knows. It gets to a point where you have to push it, like your body it takes over, and it's just like, no, this baby needs to come out. So all that being said, the baby was delivered, and the baby is healthy. She was 6 pounds. It was a little girl. They named her Alina. Okay. But of course the family, the couple, they feel like they were treated unfairly because of their race. So they have hired a lawyer, Mr. Cannon Lambert, and, they hadn't said that they're suing yet, but I believe they will be suing as they should, because this kind of thing should not happen. It probably happens a lot, but I don't know if it gets to the point where people have to, have their babies in the car or something like that. But what I'm saying is that it probably happens a lot, that a lot of nurses don't have the empathy and turn away women that they really shouldn't. Okay, so yeah, that story was very concerning, because what the hell I'm going to the hospital for if you guys not going to help me? All right. Again, I know people, there are some people that put 20 on 10 and, they think that it's happening and it really isn't. But again, you need to put these people on a machine so you can know. You can't look at a person. There may be some nurses that say that they can, but you really honestly can't look at a person and know if they are in labor or not. Now, when I saw the video that I was talking about, that woman looked like she was in labor. Okay. Like, to me, she looked like she was in labor, but I'm not a nurse. I'm not a doctor. But yeah, that was the first story that came out of Chicago. Thank goodness that everybody is healthy. Now pay the woman and her husband and the new baby, bouncing baby girl, Alina. All right, and now I'm sure you guys know what the second story is. Okay, it was the gang of hoodlum elementary school kids, elementary school age kids that jumped 33-year-old. Hold on, let me get my notes together. They jumped 33-year-old mother Karshonda Hatter, who also has sickle cell, by the way, who was also pregnant. Did I mention that already? She was walking her young son and daughter home from Orville Bright Elementary School. Okay. The kids go there. Apparently, while they were walking on the street, there was a gang of kids that approached them. Okay. Now, we saw the video. The video was very hard to watch, especially when I noticed that woman was pregnant. I was just like, what is exactly going on here? Okay. But anyway, the lady, once the kids had approached them and, they were kind of looking like they were kind of standing back, but then they started to kind of close on this woman. And the woman realized that, they were about to like mess with her kids, so she was kind of trying to shield the kids. That's when you saw that she had a stomach. Now, I don't know. These kids might not have realized it. First of all, the mom looks very young. She didn't even look like she was 33. That's still no excuse. Okay. But they obviously didn't feel any kind of threat by this woman, didn't feel afraid, didn't feel like they was going to get in trouble. The mother could have very easily passed as a teen if you ask me. Yet and still. So they approached the lady. She was trying to shield her kids at first, and then the little boy actually tried to shield his mother because the little boy knows his mom is pregnant. So he immediately goes, to the mom and kind of has his face and, trying to hug her. He's little, so there's nothing really much he can do. And next thing you know, the kids just take off on the woman. Okay, she's trying to shield her kids. They swinging so hard, they all flip and fall over on the grass. I'm thinking like this woman falling on her stomach. So far, they saying that, she and the baby is fine, but just looking at that image, I mean, it pissed me off because I'm like, this is a group of fucking kids, elementary school kids, okay? Not even middle school where, shit get real wild. These are elementary school kids in the south side of Chicago. They said right over on 106th Street and Beasley Avenue. Y'all know where that is, Ashley, the Chicago folks out there. They said that this isn't the first time that these kids have attacked both children and adults in that neighborhood, that they have been, approaching and beating up, and they say they vandalized cars. They said this particular group of kids, are known in the neighborhood to really be terrorizing the kids in the neighborhood. They say that the parents apparently, don't really have much involvement with their children, and that these kids are basically raising themselves. We don't know if their parents be home when they get home from school. They be out all different times that okay, so the neighborhood is like irritated and done with all of this. Okay, like I said, they've been terrorizing them for some years, they said now. So the next day, after this was caught on social media and posted, and up till now, I'm sure it's millions of people have seen it by now. But those parents of the other kids in the neighborhoods, they was sick of it, tired of hearing about these kind of stories, and showed up at the school. Okay, the police had to be called because they did not want them to go in there. Them parents wanted to, because I'm sure some of those parents' kids have been attacked. Some of those parents might have been approached by this group, this band of gangster ass, thug ass children, and they wanted to take some names there. And the police kept them from going in there, but them folks was looking for them kids. Okay, not just the kids, but them kids and the parents. And it's a shame, but at that age, the parents 100% should be held responsible for what their kids do. I know that there are people will say you can't really, you can't really control what your children do, and that is true to a certain extent. Somebody has to be held accountable for this. Now, you got underage kids. I mean, some of them kids look like they was 8, 7, 8, 9 years old. Like, you got kids that ain't even in the fucking double digits that are acting as grown ass people. Okay? The way you swing, and you done looked at some damn elementary school kids, and some of these kids is big, strong, look like, they can give you a time. That, like I said, that mother was very young looking, and very thin. Even though she had a belly, she was small. So you get a big enough 12, 11, 10-year-old kid, they could overtake her as well, Very, very sad. So the mother and the son was rushed to the hospital. They were in serious condition, but they expect everybody to be okay. But in the meantime, what we gonna do with these kids? Okay, I don't think any charges have been pressed just yet, because I was looking at the story. I was trying to see, what the stories that I was reading on the internet, I was trying to make sure they were as of today. So, but I don't know. I think as of today, as of the time when I was looking up my notes, they hadn't arrested anybody. But them kids and them parents need to be held accountable. But listen, they already got the parents' information out on social media. I've seen a lot of their Facebook pages and Instagram pages and all. And yes, it's just literally just too bad. Now, we done all seen some badass kids, and we know of a badass group of kids. There was actually a group of kids that was breaking into houses in our neighborhood back in the day. They were young. Okay, not quite this young, but no, we need parents to control their kids, and you need to talk to your children and let them know that, when you jump in, a gang of you guys are jumping somebody, this is not going to turn out the same as if it was just been a one-on-one, 2 9-year-old kids fighting at school. Okay, not only should the parents and these kids be held accountable, but all the way up to the principal. Okay, because you've been knowing that you got a group of kids at this school that are out of control and have not done anything about it. Now, I know people will say, what is the principal supposed to do? They can do something. Something needs to be done. I ain't quite sure exactly what needs to be done. Okay. But I'm sure that there are some top teachers, some administrators who watch me. I don't call on you guys too often, but the teachers and administrative rock stars at the schools, I need you guys to weigh in here, because what do we do about something like this? Again, the principal is responsible for ultimately the principal is responsible for the children at the school. The parents is responsible for the children who go to the school. These kids are responsible enough for them to take, accountability for their own fucking actions. Everybody needs to be in trouble. Okay. And I bet you once these parents start to let their kids know that if you get in trouble, I get in trouble, we might have some different outcomes. Not always, but maybe more than these kids just thinking they can do whatever the fuck they want to do and get away with it. Yeah, they tired of that. But like street justice, it's too bad that there may be some parents in there that really are, there for their children and all, and they just might have gotten caught up in the whole, crabs in the bear. That's not the word I want to use. The whole, what is it? The gang mentality where, they just fell in and everything. But I'm sorry that if the shit happens and you need to, somebody needs to pay for this. This woman could have lost that baby. Okay. She could have been, they could have killed them kids. I mean, killed her and that boy, the way they was all jumping and kicking and shit on them. They was on the ground, child, a mess. Now, if you guys also know, they had a whole bunch of GoFundMe pages. The lady Karshonda wants everybody to know that most of those were fake. Okay. I've heard stories about people buying her a house and flying her to LA and going shopping sprees. I don't know how true any of them stories are, but apparently there's only one official GoFundMe, and so far they've raised like $7,000 on that one. Okay. Which seems kind of light considering how much this story has gotten. But like I said, there's a lot of fake GoFundMe pages. That's why I don't trust GoFundMe pages. I just don't trust them. And I'm sure there are probably ones that are legitimate, but there's too many of them that aren't. So when somebody sends me a GoFundMe, I ain't giving, I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. It got to be another way that somebody can donate their money. Anyway, you guys, yeah, that's that on that. I just, looking at that, it's just awful. Yeah, people need to know that you can't just be going and jumping people and there's nothing that happens from that. I know there's also a lot of conversation. I saw Bondi was talking about, this whole baddies and, that whole, that the kids watch these different shows on Zeus and all of that. And that is the reason why, they feel like it's okay to do these things and that nothing comes of it. I have been telling you guys that since back when we were watching Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I remember talking about this and saying that the whole feel of the Bad Girls Club, at that time it was Bad Girls Club. Okay, even though Bad Girls Club ain't got shit on baddies and all, I don't even watch any of the Zeus thing because I just cannot do it. It's too much fool of fucking niggotry for me. But I've been saying it from back then. People on these reality shows be fighting and beating ass and all of that, and that is not what happens in the real life. So then you got people that are very impressionable who think that they can just go and beat a bitch ass and that's it. Okay, and then everybody be on the bus going to the next location and we all having a good time, but then we arguing. No, that has been a problem for years, but it's escalated, I will agree. But yeah, that's it, y'all. It don't make no damn sense. Parents, get control of your fucking kids. Okay? All right. Next story. All right, you guys. I'm going to throw politics in right here. So these Jeffrey Epstein files, child. Apparently, WhatsApp has signed the legislation. It had to be a fucking bill, you guys, in order for them to get him to release these Epstein files in full. They're calling it the Jeffrey Epstein Transparency Act. Child, I was just like, we had to, why they don't just let this shit out? Okay? Why does he have control of the fucking files to begin with? Well, we know why, because he's in control of the FBI director and in control of all of these other people that have to deal with it. But, yeah, let me tell you what Weissap said. He said, perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed, because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. This latest hoax will backfire on the Democrats just as all the rest have. Now, it just might backfire. Okay, I have a feeling there's going to be some Democrats that we really truly admire that's going to be in them files. Right now, we can't worry about it. Okay. What I am concerned about is the fact the longer that they have these files, you know, there's already rumor that some senator or somebody was overheard on a hot mic saying that they were going to redact all of the Republican names out of the Epstein files, and they were going to leave all the Democratic names. I don't know how that would be legal, but I mean, you can redact things out of files but the whole purpose of the releasing these files is so that we can see who's the fucking in them. Okay? If you redacting names, what is the purpose? All right? So I'm hoping that they release all of these files, that there's no redactions out. You know, I know that the press secretary said that they are going to release the files, but their first, you know, well, they plan to release the files, but their first plan of action is to make sure that they protect the victims. I'm like, the fucking victims' faces is all over media. They was actually at the damn place when Congress was coming up with this bill because they want the shit released. Okay? Like, what are you protecting when they already have made themselves known to the public of who they are? I mean, I saw a huge group of ladies that was all cheering when, you know, they got that bill done. So that's just bullshit. Okay? It makes me feel like and I'm sure it makes everybody else feel like the longer that they have that shit, the longer they can make whatever changes that they need to make. And again, Weissap, even though he signed this bill, the file still might not get released, because what if the FBI says that they don't want to release them? Okay, he's in charge of the feds. You know, there's a director there and all of that, but he ultimately can tell the Department of Justice, the feds, or whoever else got these fucking files that don't release that shit. Then can get right up on his truth.social org or whatever the fuck it's called and say, you know, I signed the bill for them to release it. It's not his fault that the feds is not releasing the damn files. It's always some old trickery, and always, you know, like I said, I don't know what to feel about that. I mean, everybody, when they got the bill done, you know, they were all cheering and everything, both the Republicans and the Democrats. The Republicans feel like this is much ado about nothing. Let's just go on and put the shit out there and, you know, move on with our lives. But the Democrats are fully expecting to see Weissap's name in there. Okay. And to me, he was so closely friendly with, not just friendly, he was true friends with Epstein. And just those emails and shit that we already saw. I mean, that man's name has to be in those files. And if his name don't show up, we ain't gonna believe it. And then, after they release these files and we read everything and we do see the motherfucking name up in there, then what? What happens next? Are they going to put him out of his job? What is the fucking word? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Are they going to do the whole thing? What is the word? Y'all know, everybody don't need to tell me. But you know what I'm talking about, like, impeach him. Are they going to impeach him? And even if they impeach him, is he going to have to get out of office? Probably not, because it's all Republican. Congress everything is Republican. Republican ruled, led, and all that. So, child, and again, we already knew that the men don't have no respect for women, don't have no respect probably for children. Okay? They gonna twist it around and say, well, these women look like grown, you know, women. These teens, you know, did themselves up to look like. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But because they have 30 days to release these files. Why is he just standing over there? Is a man just standing? And I got my window down. I don't like when people be listening to me. I'm over at the Lucky Key. I'm getting me some sushi today, y'all. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. Child, I'm so tired of it. I'm not gonna get excited until we actually see these damn files. But again, if they're gonna redact everything, or if they're gonna burn away everything they have WhatsApp's name in there, or if they just don't even release it, child, it just feels like this might be a big ass ruse, you know. So that's that on that. You guys let me know what you think about that. I have another story. I don't have my earrings on. Oh my God, what did I do with them? Because I know I pulled them out of my box this morning. I hope I ain't set them down. You guys, my memory has been so awful. I just will sit something down. If I'm not like paying attention, I'll sit it down and then I'll just be like, what did I do with it? Child, it might be on the bumper of the fucking car. I lost a whole set of keys that way recently. Just drove off with the shit on the bumper. That's what we think happened. You know how expensive them damn key fobs are? Like $400 a replay. Child was sick. Anyway, I'm off topic. Okay, let's get back to the politics. Okay, next story. Okay, you guys. So I'm not going to pretend to know much about this story because I am not well versed on foreign affairs. Okay, when it comes to politics and all. So I'm just going to tell you guys about Nicki Minaj. I mean, I'm sure you guys have already seen it, but you guys saw that Nicki Minaj was at the United Nations and she was speaking on behalf of the Nigerian Christians over in Nigeria who feel that they are being punished, terrorized, killed in some instances for because they are not practicing the religion of the country, which I guess is largely Muslim, Islam, something along those lines. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Again, I'm saying that I'm not real well versed on this. But they're saying that Nigerian Christians are being singled out and being punished for their beliefs. So Nicki Minaj, I am going to read to you part of the speech that she gave, and then we're going to talk about it. So Nicki got up there and said, in Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes and killed. Churches have been burned, families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but so many countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. I want to be clear, protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It's about uniting humanity. And then she went on to thank WhatsApp for his, for him and his administration giving attention to this matter. Okay. Now, recently I saw that Nicki Minaj, actually one of the Roxstars had sent me, like, when was that? Maybe a couple of months ago, Nicki Minaj had posted something along the lines like, thanking Trump for something that he had done. And I didn't even pay much attention to it because I had told that Rockstar, I was just like, Nicki, that child is just trolling. Okay, at that time I didn't think that we know that Nicki Minaj loves to troll. We also know that she loves to ride on the side that everybody else is not on. Okay, kind of likes to root for the shit that everybody else is not feeling. Okay, contrarianism is kind of like what Nicki dabbles in, not just dabbles in, she likes to partake in. Yet and still, I didn't think necessarily the things that Nicki Minaj said was all that horrible, but it gave me some sort of, actually what she was saying, you would think, at least here in the United States, people should be free to practice whatever religion that they want to, but this is a whole nother continent, child. This is Africa, in Nigeria, people do things differently over there. So I am not, like I said, well-versed on what happens over there. But when I was listening to Nicki Minaj, I was just like, okay. But it still made me feel like I don't trust it. It was kind of given, like, how did Nicki Minaj become the person? Now, I know people are going to say, people have all kind of things that they feel passionate about, that they want to fight for and all that. And I get all that. But for Nicki Minaj to be speaking so passionately about the Nigerians in Africa and the way that they practice religion, it just seems so random. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. It's just like, how is it that Nicki Minaj is the person that's speaking on this? Okay, it makes me feel like, did they reach out to her and ask her to do this? I mean, did they pay her to do this? Like, why is it? I don't trust this. It feels like maybe she doesn't like. I did watch Amanda. You guys know who I'm talking about. Amanda from Insecure. What's her last name? You guys know what I'm talking about. Who, when matters like this come up, I listen to what she says, because she is very smart and she knows about these things. That's why it's hard for me to talk about it, because I don't want people to think like I'm just, But she broke it down even further and said that while Nicki Minaj feels like she's probably doing the right thing, it's looking like actually she's being used, and that in the long run, she's not going to be on the right side of history in this whole thing. Because anytime WhatsApp is involved in shit like this, it makes you feel like, what is it exactly over in Nigeria that you want all of a sudden? Okay? America ain't been worried about no damn Nigeria this whole time. Okay? And now suddenly you guys are concerned about the religious practices that people have over in Nigeria? Like, really? So that already made me feel like I was like something over there. Now, we already know this is Africa, Nigeria. I don't know exactly what over there resources that America wants, but it just always feels like WhatsApp is trying to rape and plunder damn nations all over the world. So it already raised an eyebrow here, made me feel like, what exactly are you trying to get? What are you trying to get that you have now enlisted Nicki Minaj to come out here and talk to the people? Like, really? So I don't, and let me tell you what he said. He said, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria, and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. To me, it sounds like they just want to go in there and get into Nigeria and take over and do whatever they can do, and take whatever they want to take. Okay, that's just what it feels like. Nicki Minaj may very well feel like she's doing the right thing, trying to speak out for a group of people that are not represented, or whatever. But there's more to this story, obviously. And so we can't just go by, okay, Nicki Minaj said that the Christians ain't being able to practice over there, and now America got to go over there and save the day. Okay? Again, since when did America care about what happened over in Nigeria? So that's that. Again, I would love for any rock stars who knows way more about this kind of thing, can weigh in the comments below and share, so that we can get a better understanding of what's happening. But Amanda, she did break it down and basically say that they're using Nicki Minaj and they're trying to get into Nigeria for certain reasons. Okay. All right, you guys, I think that's gonna be that for this video here. We're gonna move, we leave whatever you got to say below. Over there. I have to have the windows down because it's hot. Y'all see my face is shiny and everything. All right, you guys, that's it on that. Let me get on off of here. We do this every single week, so make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars, bye.